If you ever wondered why you feel so much, why everyday things can leave you exhausted, shut down, or on edge, you're not broken. This is what trauma looks like when it doesn't have anywhere to go. In this video, you'll hear from Emilia, a psychotherapist who works with survivors of child sex abuse. She breaks down how trauma impacts us, not just emotionally, but in our relationships, our bodies, our beliefs, and how we show up in the world. If you've ever felt like something's wrong with you, or you're too much, or not enough, this may help things start to make sense.
We can, if we break it up, we can look at it in different kind of categories of symptoms. So one of them, it's going to be changes in emotions. A lot of the time, survivors will experience more shame, guilt, the sense of responsibility. So when we look at the emotions, the more common emotions that we'll experience are the lower energy ones. So things like sadness, hopelessness. And what we notice is that actually there's a lot of anger. And there can also be aggression that's related to hypervigilance and your nervous system being jacked up, which is very uncommon from what we're kind of taught to believe, or what like the typical image of somebody who's been traumatized is. Then we also have changes in our beliefs, our thoughts. And so those are often things like, I'm not lovable, I'm not good enough, I can't trust other people, the world is an unpredictable place, there's something wrong with me. If people knew that this happened, they wouldn't want to be around me. I'm somehow responsible. I should have stopped it, that kind of thing. It's usually the, if this had not happened, or if I had done this, then this. Or there's a lot of shoulds that come up. Usually if it's a should, it's probably not actually something you should have done. So changes in our thinking.
I know that one hits hard. The voice inside your head that says, if people knew what happened to me, they wouldn't love me. You're not alone in that. It's just something your brain learned to say to try to survive.
Then we can look at changes in our behavior. So usually it's avoiding certain situations. We're trying to protect ourselves. And we might notice more aggression, more substance use, which is a way of trying to cope with the difficulties that we're experiencing. And it's hard for us to connect with other people. It's hard for us to trust. It could be hard to have intimate relationships. We might also teeter-totter from, if we look at intimacy or sex, we might go from hyposexuality, which is almost like having no interest in it, not wanting to connect with that aspect of ourselves at all, to hypersexuality, which is being almost like preoccupied with thoughts of having sex and just your sexual self, which often leads to problems. And then somewhere in the middle is the healthy aspect, which we want to get to.
Let's pause here for a second, because this part can be confusing, even shame-inducing. If you're struggling with intimacy, whether you wanted nothing to do with sex, or maybe that's all you can think about, both of those reactions make sense. There's no one right way that trauma shows up. Your story is valid, no matter what it looks like.
And so all of those experiences will, and then we have our physiological changes. So that's where we have our physical symptoms of, we might notice a lot of headaches, we might notice chronic pain, you might notice pain with intercourse, a lot of pelvic issues will come around. And then we've got also hypervigilance and hyperarousal. And so that's how jacked up your nervous system is. And when you've experienced trauma, and you were in that fight, flight, freeze, fawn response, your survival instinct kicked in, but you never had a chance to really properly process it, it might keep coming up. And so you're gonna notice that you're more on guard, you're more easily startled. You're at that point a bit more aggressive, because when you're up here, the things that are everyday kind of inconveniences for some people, that you're responding from a baseline, but if you've been traumatized, you're responding from up here. And so you've got a very, if you think about kind of like the spectrum of emotions, down here we've got baseline, and up here we've got overwhelmed. And this is kind of where we live every single day of our lives when we're not traumatized. So when something happens that's not a big deal, it might trigger us like to here, right? Gets like halfway through that curve. If you're traumatized and you haven't processed, you're kind of stuck at this more hypervigilant state. You're kind of up here. And so your emotions are going to be more intense. So something that is an everyday inconvenience for somebody, not a big deal. They're going to respond from a nice baseline feeling calm. You're going to be responding from an activated state. And so you're a lot closer to that peak of emotion. And so that's where feeling aggressive, that's where having an overwhelming response might kick in.
If you saw yourself in any part of this, you're not alone. This isn't about checking symptoms off a list. It's about realizing why certain things have felt so hard for so long. If this helped you name something or even feel a little less alone, drop a comment or share it with someone who's been trying to make sense of their own story. And if you want more content that honors the truth about trauma without shame, subscribe. We're here, walking in it with you. You are braving healing.